Imagine an army of 50,000 men. It's marching through enemy territory, and each soldier carries 35 kilograms of iron, wood, and leather. Every day, they march 30th kilometers. But there's one detail the textbooks don't mention. Every morning, before forming into column, each legionary buries his dirty work. Literally. Why did the most disciplined warriors of antiquity waste precious minutes digging holes? It's not about cleanliness. It's about survival. How could mud destroy an invincible legion? Imagine waking up at dawn in Gaul. The grass is wet. Your gear weighs on your shoulders. Hundreds of other men like you are getting up from the ground around you. There are no soft beds in a Roman camp. There are short naps between shifts and constant hunger. But now is the most dangerous time. This is not battle. This is the morning before the march. You walk to the edge of the camp. There's already a line there. Everyone has a small shovel, a dolabra. They don't part with it. Even during a feast, you dig a hole, about 30 centimeters deep. No more and no less. Why not more? Because you have no strength. Why not less? Because the smell will kill you within an hour. You do your job. You bury it. You tamp it down with your foot. That's it. You can line up. But what if someone was lazy? What if a new recruit from Spain decided this was unnecessary? The Roman military machine was perfect. The doctors of the time didn't know about bacteria, but they knew the most important thing. Where 5,000 people relieve themselves on the bare ground, pestilence sets in within 3 days. Dysentery, bloody diarrhea. It mowed down armies faster than swords. Imagine a soldier with a fever of nearly 104 degrees, charging into battle and unable to even grip a spear. Only his stomach. The enemy would gladly finish him off. Dehydration killed in 48 hours. The Romans saw this. Thousands died in civilian cities because of open sores. And on the march, you couldn't rely on rivers. One pit created by 30 soldiers equals 30 liters of waste per day. Multiply that by 10 days of marching. 300 liters of rotting biological bomb. If you leave that on the surface. Flies. Thousands of flies, each one a carrier of infection. And now you're no longer marching toward victory. You're dragging your feet, stopping every 200 meters. But there's another reason. The enemy, the Germans and Gauls, were cunning. They didn't always attack directly. Sometimes they followed. And if they found a camp permeated with the stench of disease, they knew the legion was weak. There's no need to fight here. Just wait 3 days. Or poison the only nearby stream with a foul-smelling cloak. The Romans buried their tracks not out of shame, out of strategy. An empty camp is a mystery to the enemy. Where did they go? Healthy or sick? Better not to risk it. But if the enemy sees mountains of flies over the former camp, he knows. Run. Catch up. They're already half dead. Compare this with other armies of the same time. The barbarians went to the toilet wherever they could. Right in their camps. Right in the forest. Next to their own tents. And every summer, the plague thinned their ranks. The Romans lost men in battle. The barbarians lost men on the way to battle. The legion had a plan for everything, even for this. They knew. Order doesn't begin with the ranks. Order begins with a pit. They even devised a system for nighttime. Inside the camp itself, in the center, it was clean, and at the edges were special snails, nooks for emergencies. Each legionary had his own clay tablet with the number of his outhouse. If you fell ill, the medic immediately knew which way the wind was blowing and isolated your sentry. It was a harsh discipline. Fresh traces of something on the campgrounds were punished by beatings with sticks until you lost consciousness. Centurions patrolled even at night to inspect. One centurion, Petronius, became famous for personally filling a hole after a legionary collapsed from his wounds. But the next morning, the same legionary received 20 lashes. For allowing his commander to humiliate him? No, for endangering his comrades. Now imagine the scale. Caesar's army in Gaul consisted of 50,000 men. Every day, 50,000 holes. Over the course of a year's campaign, 18 million holes were dug. If they were stretched out in a line, they would encircle the earth at the equator. Completely. The Romans literally dug up Europe. Literally. But that made them a shadow. An army that couldn't be found by smell. An invisible army. So, the answer is simple. They buried their excrement to avoid dying, but not immediately, but after 2 weeks of infection. And so the enemy wouldn't know where they were wounded or sick, and so the command could plan a march a month in advance, without wondering how many soldiers would wake up alive tomorrow. This wasn't hygiene for hygiene's sake. It was the mathematics of survival. The legion conquered space. It conquered time. It even conquered its own shit. All of Rome's might rested on one simple truth. It's not the one who strikes the sword best who wins, it's the one who gets sick the least. But here's the question: if they covered their tracks so thoroughly, how do we even know about it? Who told us this secret if everything was buried 2 meters deep? Write digging in the comments, and I'll tell you which archaeological layer destroyed the myth of pure Romans. And in the next video, you'll learn what Romans we didn't do this to our enemies when we ran out of toilet paper. Spoiler, it's very nasty and very effective.